Hello, this is the 110th issue of Catch of the Day, available on the Branch Talk YouTube channel. Today we're going to continue reading from the book written by Doug Mitchell, When the Siege Has Ended, Ezekiel 5, The Judgment for the Living. Starting near the top of page 6. As the rod message did not come after the harvest, investigative judgment of the dead was passed, but came in the final days of the judgment of the dead. The rod message of its own cannot be the other truths, even more important. That must be introduced for the harvest of the living. That is, it cannot be the new message that was to be received after the judgment of the dead is over, because the judgment of the dead was not over in his day. But that is not to say that the rod message does not contain important material that is a significant part of the new message in the time of the judgment of the living, for it does. For those who may not be sure whether or not Brother Houteff believed that they were still in the time of the judgment of the dead, in his day we present the following. When finally the judgment passes from the dead to the living, thus outmoding by expiration the initial phase of the first angel's message, the judgment of the dead, what timely truth will the church then have for herself and for the world? What indeed if she does not now accept and practice the message of very present truth, the final phase of the first angel's message, which is presently announcing the stealthy approach of judgment upon the living, and which is knocking at each heart's door? White House Recruiter 37. That tract published in 1951 makes it quite clear that the judgment had not yet passed from the dead to the living at that time, because Brother Houteff's message, the final phase of the first angel's message, was still in process of announcing the stealthy approach of the judgment upon the living, not announcing that it had already arrived. One of the main teachings of the rod message is that whatever light is to come to the church concerning the great and dreadful day of the Lord is to come through the work of Elijah, the messenger of the covenant. While Brother Houteff showed that his work of announcing the Lord's coming suddenly to his temple at the opening of the judgment of the living, or for the living, and preparing the people for that coming, Malachi 3:1-3, was in fulfillment of the coming of the messenger of the covenant, whom he identified as Elijah. He also said that the work of Elijah was to continue during the judgment for the living while it was in progress. All may for a surety know both the day and the Elijah as he proclaims it, because to our surprise, he will point out that every Bible prophet describes the day and also tells what the Lord would have us do while it is approaching, and subsequently while we are going through it. All will see that no one but Elijah can proclaim the day. General Conference Special, page 12. The word subsequently is defined as meaning following in time, coming, or being later than something else, subsequent events, following in order of place. Webster. So it is clear from Brother Houteff's use of the word subsequently in the context that what he said in that statement about Elijah's work was to announce the day while it is approaching, which is exactly what the rod message did. And following that announcement of its approach, Elijah is also to tell what the Lord would have us do while we are going through it, in the new message that is to come when the judgment of the dead is past. It is thus, and only thus, that it can be said that Elijah never dies. This truth is made sure by Brother Hardif's last analysis of the messenger of the covenant, Elijah. Take a look at that. Take care.